Okay, what's up, guys? This weather, it's uncharacteristically bad in TJ right now, and all of California, actually. It's just dumping rain, there's flooding anywhere. I can't really get out and do a bunch of stuff that I want to do and create that content, but I got an idea. Let's talk about my job search as a Gringo expat Asiático in Tijuana. It's been about a month now. As you guys know, in Seattle and San Diego, I was a real estate broker for going on 8 years, 2016 to 2023. 7 years. Actually really big in Seattle, and then kind of tapered off in San Diego. Rates, went up. I moved to a new market. I, just didn't have a business mindset like I did when I was building one in Seattle. But here I am in TJ, and a lot of things are a lot more affordable. Cost of living, my rent went down by 75% from, I have a deal worked out with my agent for a lower monthly payment. So yeah, that's really lessened the burden of living expenses. Food, of course, is much cheaper. My gym, just started my gym membership. It's $60 a month, which I was paying $180 in San Diego, believe it or not. Yeah, and even before that, I was paying $200 plus in Seattle because I had a membership at the Washington Athletic Club, which was super high end, and had a restaurant on site that I would charge my card all the time. So I've been given a few opportunities here in Tijuana so far, and I want to kind of make 3 pillars of my business and 3 pillars of my career, and so there's only so much time in the day. You can only focus so much. So real estate's always been my go-to thing, and in Mexico, or at least in Tijuana, for what I'm doing, buying and selling and leasing, you don't need a license. So I can, as long as the owner permits it, or if there's a cooperating agent, they permit it, I can advertise and sell somebody else's listing, or lease an apartment with no license and get a commission. And the rental commissions here are not bad. So rent in where I'm staying in New City in Zona Rio, it's $2,000 plus a month. So if I get a month rent for a commission, if it's just me, or split it for $1,000 each just for signing a lease, that's not a bad gig. And I can probably, just by posting on social media, generate a few leads a month. So that's one thing I have going there. Second thing is, I was given an opportunity to work at a call center, and not as an employee, but as somebody who is, I guess, talking with businesses and explaining the value of having a near shore call center for your, whether it be customer service, tech, IT, outbound sales, any kind of virtual assistant type role, instead of places like India, Philippines. The benefit of being near shore is these guys in Mexico, they speak perfect English. They might even have been from the US, went to school in the US, been deported, whatever, but they're much more relatable than people in India or the Philippines. The cost versus value is exponential versus Philippines and India. You're paying a little more for Mexico, but you get all the benefits of basically a US call center, and they work twice as hard, and the technology is just as good. So the US is obviously the best, but it's the highest price. It's the difference between US and Mexico is so much more that it makes Mexico so much more worth it. So that's why, in my opinion, I'm all convinced and brainwashed now that Mexico's the best. And then if, depending on your budget, it's going to be, and what your goals are specifically too. If it's to have conversations with people or sales, it's got to be somewhere that speaks English perfectly. You know how it is when someone calls you and they want to speak, or they have a Filipino or Indian accent. It's kind of just like, okay, this is a spam call. So that's one opportunity. Talking to businesses to sell them seats, or to sell them employees essentially for their business. And it's kind of a commission basis, but it's also like a recurring monthly basis. I make like the difference between what the cost is and how much I'm able to sell them for. So that's a good gig, and that's really one of my main focuses now. Also, they've been gracious enough to give me an office space right there in downtown Tijuana. So I have an office, I have a parking spot, and a good space if I want to generate some business and some focus. So number 1 is the call center. Number 2 is the real estate, leasing and selling, of course, in Tijuana. Unfortunately, it seems like crossing the border is just too much work for me to get over without SENTRI. So gonna focus on real estate here in Tijuana, as well as the call center. Number 3 is content creation, what I'm doing for you here now. And there's 3 pillars to my content creation game. Number 1 is going to be for personal. This is going to be what I'm doing on this channel. Moving to Tijuana as somebody who's been lived in the US for 31 years. And my experiences, different food, what it's like, cost differences, and the whole process, and hopefully make it easier for somebody else who's thinking about making a move, or just sharing the experiences, because I plan on traveling a lot through Mexico. Once you're in Mexico, flying out of TJ, it's very affordable, it's easy. You don't have to go through customs, so we have a whole new country to explore here. So personal YouTube. Second thing is I've met through my friend over at Cyber City. I would do content for him, and I have to establish a game plan, meaning that I have a schedule of when I'm filming, releasing 2 to 3 pieces of content, short form only. I don't have time to do my long form videos and then their long form videos, unless the opportunity presents itself. But so I'm going to come up with a plan to help them grow their business. There's actually 2 businesses. One is going to be the jewelry business that my friend from Cyber City introduced me to, and one's going to be Cyber City. So we're going to do 1 day filming, just 2 or 3 pieces of short form content, then post those 2 or 3 pieces over the course of the week. I still haven't thought of a compensation structure, because I want to have milestones. I want to have bonuses. If I hit these bonuses, if I grow your account to this many followings, or if we start generating this many leads, of course I want either a commission or some kind of bonus. I don't think it's gonna be too time intensive, but with my skill set for the social media, I think that it's going to be better for them to pay me to do it versus what they would pay a full-on social media manager, especially in the U.S. One of the businesses is in the U.S. I looked up salaries, and it's somewhere in the $40,000 starting range for entry level. Of course, I'm not going to have the full curriculum and education on it, but I know exactly what I'm doing when it comes to posting 2 or 3 shorts per week, and I can do that for a fraction of the cost for this guy. And of course, I think it's going to be a lot more relatable. I'm not going to be a robot, and we can generate some good ideas, and I'm good with being consistent. You know that. So, which is why I feel bad about not posting a video here in 5 days. Oh my God. Between the call center and the jewelry business, I'm going to do short form content for them, and hopefully grow their YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, which feeds into Facebook. So those are the 4 I'm going to focus on: the Reels, the Shorts, and the TikToks, under a minute in length. So those right now, 1 month living in Tijuana, are the 3 businesses or 3 careers that I'm going to try and pursue just for the short term. I can do everything locally here in Tijuana. The jewelry store business is going to require crossing, but guess what? It's right there in Chula Vista, very close. I can go midday, so there's no line at the border. But other than that, man, I'm still working on getting that the new city tour done. We tried to tour yesterday a little bit. It was just dumping rain. It wasn't a good vibe. It was killing the vibes. And then when we walked into one of the lobbies, there was a Karen lady who was like, "You can't film in here." And I was like, "Oh, I'm just filming the amenities." She's like, "Okay, well, if there's people, you have to stop filming. It's very private here." And I was like, "Well, okay, I live here. I just want to show my people I'm acting as an agent." And she's like, "Oh, you live here? Okay, cool." So then she kind of let her guard down a little bit. I think she thought I was an agent because I had my suit jacket on. But okay, guys. Questions, comments about making a move to Tijuana or Mexico in general, I'd love to have a conversation going to you guys in the comments. Let's talk if you have any experiences with where you've worked, or as a U.S. citizen living in Tijuana, ideas. Also, if you need real estate help at all, if you're business watching this somehow and you have the need for employees to work on your behalf, whether it be outbound lead gens, inbound customer service, I can help you out with that. All right, guys, have a good one.